what's up, hello? My name is Emma, and today I'm going to be talking about my favorite Booktube memories. Booktube has been a constant part of my life for the past 7 years, and I have so many amazing memories attached to it. Too many to even go over in this video, but I just wanted to have like a fun, sit down, chatty video talking about some of the most memorable moments and experiences I've had as a part of this community. But I first want to give a big shout out to today's video sponsor, which is Serial Box. Serial Box publishes immersive fiction through both audiobook and ebook formats. They produce full-scale audio experiences with things like sound effects and background noises to make you really feel like you're in this story, with lots of genres like science fiction, fantasy, thrillers, horror, and more. Some of my favorite things about Serial Box are that you always get both the audiobook and ebook format for the same price, and you can easily toggle between formats while listening to the same story. So for example, you might be walking your dog or driving and listening to the audiobook, and then when you're ready to cozy up at home, you can get right back to your place in the ebook format. And you can always read or listen to the first episode of a story totally free, so you know you're interested before you buy it. A new Serial Box story that seems super cool is called Memory Lane, and it's written by New York Times bestselling author of the Pretty Little Liars series, Sarah Shepard, along with Ellen Goodlett, author of the Rule Duology. It is a contemporary sci-fi story that follows a girl named Alex who has had her mother's memories implanted into her mind through a scientific study, and she starts to remember things about her mom that she never knew and things that her mother claims never happened, including a drowning that Alex's mother supposedly witnessed decades before. So Alex must now use her unreliable mind to evade a killer, determined to bury the truth and take these two women along with it. It's about a road trip gone awry, some mother-daughter tension, and seems perfect for people who enjoyed Recursion or Black Mirror. All episodes of Memory Lane are available for you to read and listen to now, and if you're looking for more Serial Box releases, Marvel's Black Panther: Sins of the King is launching on January 28th with the first 3 episodes. I think Serial Box is a really awesome service that is changing the way we consume stories, so if you're interested in either of the titles I mentioned or checking out what others they have to offer, you can get your first Serial Box story for 50% off using my code EMMASerialBox. One of my favorite Booktube memories to talk about is, of course, the biannual bibliothon. If you're a longtime watcher of my channel, you've definitely heard me talk about the biannual bibliothon before. It was a readathon I created with some of my very best Booktube friends in 2015, and every year, twice a year, we would host a week of reading and Booktube video challenges. We took a lot of inspiration from Booktubeathon, or it is now known as the Reading Rush, and we just wanted to create a way for the community to get involved, read some books maybe out of our comfort zone or catch up on releases that we've missed, and push our creative boundaries making Booktube videos with different challenges. Every readathon, we also chose a group book that was optional, but the intention was that many of us would be reading the same book together, and then at the end of the week we would have a live show discussing it together. The biannual bibliothon ran twice a year from 2015, and I think our last was in 2019, so it was like 4 straight years. Not only did I have so much fun like during that week, because we were always doing like reading sprints on Twitter and just all interacting together, but the preparation was really special as well. We put so much effort into every single readathon, having hour-long video chats, coming up with new ideas, choosing who would be the host for what day, and just trying to make the readathon work better each time. I read so many great books as a part of the biannual bibliothon, but the challenges are definitely what comes to mind for me as like my favorite part of the readathon. I think all of the hosts really loved the acting challenges the most, where we would like write full scripts of sketches and skits and different performances inspired by different book scenes and book characters. I have like no plan for this video at all, so I'm just thinking of some challenges off the top of my head. The Primetime TV Challenge and the Cinema Challenge were 2 of my favorites, where you would like combine books and TV or books and movies. So inspired by the Infernal Devices, I made a commercial for a demon pox medication, And then the cinema challenge, I took different scenes from Mean Girls and replaced them with Harry Potter characters. Happily Ever After was also a fun challenge where you were supposed to like tell what happened after a book ended. So I decided to show what the process of Harry and Ginny naming their children would have been like. The character swap was a fun one as well. I decided to swap out Kath from Fangirl's roommate with Selena Sardothian from Throne of Glass because I just thought it would be a hilarious combination of two completely different characters. We did book characters in real life where I chose to make Jace Wayland accidentally portal into my bedroom and I was just like freaking out in natural fangirl fashion. A cool but underrated one, I think, is the Page to Streets challenge where we made a scavenger hunt of different objects from popular book series. And so we encouraged people to either go out into the world and find things related to those items or like find things that represented them at home. Another non-acting challenge I loved was Bookish Mash, where you played like the childhood game MASH, but you replaced all of the options with like things from books. So instead of playing MASH the traditional way where like you count them out on a page, I made a giant dartboard and wherever the dart landed, like that was my fictional husband and where we would live and like what type of story it would be. I'll always look back on the biannual bibliothon as amazing times because they really pushed me out of my reading comfort zone. They forced me to be super creative and make new videos I never would have considered. And coming back to the whole reason of the biannual bibliothon, it's really the connection that stands out to me, the way that I was able to grow such amazing friendships with the different hosts and also interact with the community and discover so many amazing channels by watching all of these video challenges and chatting with you guys during reading sprints. It is definitely one of my all-time favorite Booktube memories that I'll carry with me forever. So of course, a lot of my Booktube memories are going to be related to the community and the people that I have met and the memories I have made with them. So one of the first really memorable convention experiences I had was VidCon of 2015. I flew out to California and spent like almost an entire week with most of the biannual bibliothon hosts. So we all got to stay together and just spent all day at the convention center going to different panels, watching our favorite YouTubers, and meeting other booktubers and people who watched our videos. That was the first time I really traveled like on my own and met up with these people that I had spent like the last year interacting with online. We went to VidCon prom, which was just like a big dance party where all the booktubers were in one big like get down circle. And we also spent the last day at Disneyland together. So it is just a super memorable experience for me to like interact with these people I love so much in real life, get to meet so many of you who were there at that event as well, and just like it's one of those experiences that showed how much Booktube goes outside of this little community on YouTube. Now, how could we talk about Booktube memories and conventions without talking about BookCon and Book Expo? I have been attending BookCon and Book Expo virtually every year, and I'm incredibly saddened that it didn't happen in really 2020 and is not going to happen in 2021. My first experience at BookCon 2014 was really like adorable is how I look at it because I had only just joined Booktube like 5 months prior. And so it was my first experience meeting some of my favorite authors of all time and also the booktubers that I had looked up to and were the reason I created my channel. I absolutely love looking back on this photo of me, Christine, Kat, Jessie, Ariel, and Liz because it's just so funny to look back now about like how excited I was to meet these people that were like my idols and now they're like some of my greatest friends. A true testament to how much can change in just a couple of years. And then I went back to BookCon in 2015 where I was a little bit more established in the community. I actually had like a group of Booktube friends that I went and hung out with. That year was really my first taste of what it is like on the other side of things to not just be the fan meeting your favorite authors and booktubers, but to be the person that people want to come up to and take photos with because they love your videos. 2016 was the first year I experienced Book Expo, which is related to BookCon, but BookCon is open to the public and it's really for the fans of books, whereas Book Expo is like for the industry people. That year was really special, number one, because I got to travel to Chicago for the very first time, and I stayed in an Airbnb with a ton of my Booktube friends, and then each day we would go to the convention center and we would get all of these amazing early copies of books from our favorite authors and get to meet them at signings. So a bunch of my Booktube friends got to have dinner with Adam Silvera, who I adore so much, and then it was also my first Big Honcho party, which many of the booktubers I know will agree, the Big Honcho party is like the highlight of BookCon week. BookCon and Book Expo 2017 was another amazing, amazing year. I got to interview Clea for the second time, which was amazing, and I'll be talking about different author interviews and experiences later. But also, this was the first year that I had a meet and greet and a panel at BookCon, which was so exciting because I am like coming from the experience of someone who like went to BookCon because I'm a fan and because like I have people that I want to meet there, and suddenly like I'm the person that people want to meet and I'm a guest at BookCon. I think it was me, Sasha, Natasha, Zoe, and Clea. We had a meet and greet and like 200 people like lined up just to meet us and talk with us and take photos with us. Absolute insanity. And then the following day I had my very first ever BookCon panel. I love BookCon and Book Expo for so many different reasons. It's a way for me to meet a lot of my favorite authors and attend really cool panels hearing these authors talk about their books and writing process. It's super special because it's one of the only weeks out of the year that almost like all of my Booktube friends kind of congregate in one space, and we spend the entire week hanging out and taking pictures and going to dinner and having different events together. But I think my favorite thing about BookCon and all of different book conventions is the opportunity to meet my followers and my subscribers. There's no experience like it in this world that I've at least come across so far. I love being able to meet people from all over the world and just meet them because they like these videos that I make about books, but I love the chance to talk to you and get to know you more and what you're reading and what you like outside of books. My presence in this community has definitely shifted the way I experience events like this, because it used to be all about like meeting these authors and getting my book signed, and now like I have all my books signed by these authors and I know them pretty personally, and it's shifted to a thing where BookCon is like really mostly about being able to walk around and attend meet and greets and panels to meet you guys. Like anytime I step on the BookCon floor, like there is just a line that appears out of nowhere of people that just saw me randomly in a crowd and want to talk to me, and my friends are always like, Emma, like we gotta go to this other event, and I'm like, no, y'all go, I'll stay here because like this is what I came for. BookCon 2018 has some other really amazing memories. On one of the first days of Book Expo, we gathered a big group of booktubers and we all went to see Mean Girls on Broadway together, which was so incredible. I love all the ways that Booktube has been able to transcend just talking about books on the internet to forming real connections with people and doing things non-book related. But that Mean Girls on Broadway night is one definitely I'll remember forever. On the same note of my Booktube memories being bigger than Booktube themselves, something that me and my friends have done a couple of years at BookCon and Book Expo is get tattoos together. The first time was in 2016 when we were in Chicago. Me, Kat, Sarah, and Monica all got tattoos together. And then in 2018, again, we all went to a different studio in New York and got tattoos there. And those are really special because even though we didn't necessarily get like matching tattoos, anytime I look at those tattoos, I'm gonna remember that like, hey, I got this during a book convention week with my Booktube friends who I met on the internet who are so important to me. So it adds an additional meaning to having that ink on my body. 2018, I unfortunately got really ill and missed a full day of Book Expo and BookCon where I wasn't able to attend one of my meet and greets. And it was absolutely heartbreaking, but I was so determined to not let my entire week be defined by not feeling well. So I mustered up somehow the strength to get back on the last day of BookCon and attend my panel and just meet more of you guys. And it's another amazing memory. And the same really goes for 2019. This week has just become an amazing experience of meeting my favorite authors, spending as much time with my friends as possible, and also meeting you guys. I was on another panel, which was incredible. Something else I remember from 2019 is that a bunch of us went to do karaoke after BookCon, which was just a super fun time. So yeah, Book Expo and BookCon is just a week I look forward to absolutely every year. Some of the most amazing memories I've ever made have taken place during those conventions, and I'm really looking forward to the day when things are safer and BookCon and Book Expo can restart, and I'm just excited to see what the future holds in the coming years. The other book festival I really wanted to talk about was YALLfest, which takes place in Charleston, South Carolina, and I made it there in 2015 and 2017. Again, really hoping to make it there again in the future. Unlike Book Expo, which is like in one big convention center the entire week, YALLfest is a weekend festival that is spread all throughout downtown Charleston. So you have book signings at like museums and theaters and ice cream shops and like outside, and it is just like, it is a super chill, laid back experience that I love. Something I weirdly miss about all of the convention weeks is the lack of sleep. Every day for these weeks and festivals, I get like 3 hours of sleep per night because we're up all night hanging out and cramming in as much time as we can together. As we've gotten older, like at YALLfest last year, we went to like different bars and clubs together, and then I need to get up many hours before my friends to like get fully ready for the day. And I miss just like staying with my friends. Like after the convention, we go back to like a hotel or an Airbnb that we've rented. Yeah, I'm just really missing like walking around in the sun, exploring Charleston with my friends and getting all dressed up and taking photos and meeting our followers. It's an amazing time that I really hope we get back to. Another Booktube memory that really takes the cake as one of my favorites is when I went to the Wizarding World of Harry Potter with some of my Booktube friends. This was really special for me because it was the first trip that I had planned with friends I met through Booktube that wasn't related to like a book event or a book signing or convention or anything like that. They just happened to be the people I met through Booktube and have become some of my very best friends, and we just wanted to go and have a fun week together and just experience the Wizarding World all as one. That trip was my like graduation from college present to myself that I had saved up for, and I will remember that trip for the rest of my life. It was just so perfect in every way. We like barely waited on lines for any of the rides, and we got to go into all of these shops. I bought all of the merch and stuff that I had wanted for so many years. One of the most special things from that trip is that I got chosen to get my very own wand at Ollivander's. I was like so determined to be chosen for the wand ceremony at Ollivander's during that trip. It was like the thing I wanted more than anything, and I got it. And it was just like a picture perfect magical moment for me. We went right before Christmas, so like the entire park was decorated and festive. There was a really special light ceremony displayed on Hogwarts, and we got to drink hot butter beer like 6 times a day. I had been wanting to go to the Wizarding World like since it opened, and absolutely everything about this trip was perfect, especially the people that I got to really enjoy it with. Despite the complicated feelings I might have about Harry Potter right now, like this is a memory that is entirely my own, and nothing can really tarnish the amazing time I had. Over my years on Booktube, I have hosted a few different like Booktube related meetups. So the first one was a New York City meetup that I hosted with Monica from Monica Kim, and also I think Sarah without an H was there because she was in town. Monica and I are both native to the surrounding area of New York City, so we just thought it would be fun to like invite other people from all corners of the bookternet to come hang out with us in Central Park. And it was such a fun day. We just like sat around and talked about books, played some games. I brought like my hula hoops, and so like we were hooping a little bit. That was a really wonderful memory, and again, like when it is safer out, I would definitely love to do another New York City meetup like that. In 2019, I spent a couple of weeks in London and Paris, and I really wanted to host some meetups while I was there as well because I had never been to Europe while like being a booktuber, and there's so many people all over the world that I want to meet. So if I have the time and I'm making my own schedule, like why don't I invite people to come hang out and we can all meet? By complete chance, my trip to London coincided with my friend Momo's trip to London, who I also met through Booktube. So we spent a couple of days hanging out together, and that was just so amazing. Oh my gosh, take me back. But we decided we would just hang out. We would go to Primrose Hill at a particular time, and anyone who wanted to come could come. And like 35 people showed up just to hang out with us at a park. That was such a special experience. Like, it's one thing to like say like I'm gonna be at this book signing at this convention and like say hi to me if you can, but it was entirely another to plan a whole day in a different country and meet people. Like, people traveled from like Ireland and Paris just for our meetup. It was so wild. And it was so much fun. Again, like, I literally just live for meeting other people who watch my videos and getting to know you guys. There is nothing like it in this world. And then I had significantly less time in Paris, so I didn't have a big organized meetup. But I found the time and just like tweeted out like, hey, I'm gonna be in Jardin du Luxembourg on this time, and a couple of people showed up, and again, like, I was mind blown that all these people were just like, yes, I'm free, I want to come hang out with you. Those Booktube meetups were such special parts of an already really special trip for me that wasn't Booktube related at all. Like, I wanted to go solo traveling, but I also wanted to make sure I had the opportunity to meet some of my followers who live in those countries. And I'm just really glad that I have those memories alongside all of the other amazing memories I made while traveling. Now, outside of the conventions and book signings where I'm like, I'm going to be at this event, like, come say hi to me, I genuinely believe that I've had like an abnormally large number of people recognize me just out in public. I've been out shopping at like my local mall a couple of times, and I've had people like recognize me because they watch my channel, and also like my Barnes & Noble that I go to buy books. Like, I've met people that watch my channel. I really hope Anthony is watching this video because Anthony is the first subscriber I ever met. As it turns out, Anthony was like a camper at the camp my mom worked at and found out that like it was my mom who worked there. So I took off the day and went in like just to meet Anthony and hang out with Anthony. And it was such a special experience. I still talk to him and adore him so much. And that was a super memorable experience for me. A couple of years ago, I went apple picking like a few hours upstate with some people that just happened to be my Booktube friends, but we wanted to go together. And so I'm in this like remote town I had never heard of before, and someone comes up to me and says they watch my videos. So we got to talk for a bit. One of my favorite stories to tell about being recognized in public is when I was in the McDonald's drive-thru. And I was like with the drive-thru person like getting my order, and they were like, how's YouTube going? And I'm like, what? And completely independent from my Booktube meetups when I was in Europe, I actually met a follower at the top of l'Arc de Triomphe, which was so freaking cool. And in like the last hour of the Louvre being opened, I also just ran into a subscriber. I really love those experiences where I get to meet people just like randomly in public because we stumbled upon each other. And as long as I'm like not rushing off somewhere, like I'm so always willing to chat and say hi. So if you do ever see me in public, feel free because it will absolutely make my day. So I've mentioned that as a part of my time as a booktuber, I've had so many amazing opportunities to meet some of my favorite authors and interview them. I filmed quite a few videos with Adam Silvera, who I adore, and so we've done a few interviews, but then one day Michael Bookline and I went over to Adam's apartment and we filmed some fun collabs for everyone's channel. And I remember for mine, we like made up the 12 Days of Bookmas, which was the 12 Days of Christmas song with different like book related things. It was super funny. I got to interview Victoria Schwab like very early on in my Booktube career, which was amazing. Michelle Mead as well, who I was a huge fan of at the time. I got to interview her at BookCon 2016. All of my interviews with Cassie Clare, I've done 3 with her now, and it is just like unbeatable. Like nothing will ever beat the interviews and videos I filmed with Cassie Clare, and I really hope I get the opportunity to do more in the future. The day I spent with Sejr J. Maas was also amazing. I had gone into Books of Wonder, which is a bookstore in New York City, and she was going to be signing pre-orders, so I just kind of sat with her and the rest of the staff for like hours as she personalized all these books, and I filmed a time lapse of her like signing and personalizing all of the books, which was super cool. And then we filmed an interview afterwards, which was also incredible. I interviewed a couple of other favorites like Marissa Meyer, who I adore, Marisha Pessel, author of Dite Film, and Jennifer Matu, author of Moxie. Those were such exciting days for me. I filmed a really fun video / interview with Arvin Amati a couple of years ago where Instagram controlled our day in New York City. So I posted polls on Instagram for you to choose from. So it was like, should Arvin order coffee in a German or French accent? Or should he skip or walk backwards to the bookstore? And it was super fun and creative. And I've also done a couple of red carpet interviews, which have been really cool. So for the release of the Everything Everything film and the Everyday movie, I got to like meet the cast and interview them on the red carpet, which was really, really cool. And as we're like talking more about like booktube videos that I filmed and loved, I've done so many collabs with my booktube friends that have been some of the most fun videos to film. Michael is like my favorite person to collab with ever. We've been making videos together for years, and I really hope we do soon, again when COVID is not as much of a problem. Some of my favorites that we've done, of course, is dressing like YA characters for a week, where we took like actual outfits that YA characters wore and wore a different one each day of the week. All of our book shopping videos, like when we went into the Strand bookstore and like asked actual strangers to get on camera and recommend us books to buy. And then we did the 3-minute book haul challenge where we bought books for each other in a bookstore in only 3 minutes. I filmed a lot of collabs at these actual book conventions. So during VidCon, like everyone filmed a video for their channel. There's like 7 vlogs of all of us doing different challenges and whatnot. At yallfest, we also did a bunch of different videos. I remember for mine, we did this thing called Obama Llama, which is like, I think a British radio stars like card game that they created. But essentially you had to like act out an author's name with like a rhyming thing. You would have to act out Marissa Meyer changing a tire. Like it would always be a rhymed sentence. Super funny. During one of the more recent book cons, a couple of us got together and we reacted to a bunch of booktubers' first videos, which was absolutely hilarious. Me and Momo like became friends because of our love for the Mortal Instruments. So we did like a Shadowhunter Q&A on her channel, and on mine we did reacting to our old Shadowhunter themed videos. Also hilarious. And one of my favorite and most recent collabs I filmed with Read with Cindy, where we sat in her hotel room for like hours. It took us a really long time to film this video, but I showed her screen caps from the City of Bones movie, and she had to like piece them together to guess the plot. And for someone who knew nothing about Shadowhunters, she did surprisingly well. Those collabs are just such good memories, not only of filming them, but I know that whenever I'm having like a rough day or I'm like looking for a way to feel better, like I can go through my entire playlist of every video I've ever filmed with one of my booktube friends, and it just always puts a smile on my face to see us together and doing dumb stuff and just having fun together. So to close out this video, I kind of just wanted to talk about some of the favorite videos of mine that I have made. I've talked about the author interviews and the collabs and the biannual bibliothon videos, but these are just some of the other videos I've made that I've been really proud of. I'm ordering my videos on my channel from oldest to newest to make sure I don't miss any, and wow, I have made a lot of videos and I've been making them for a long time. I always look back fondly on the great rating crisis of 2016, where I basically just talk about how like difficult it is for me to nail down a consistent rating scale and like the different influences that come into our ratings. And then I think in like 2018, I did like a rewatch of it where I talked about like how my opinions had changed in 2 years since then. I talked about a lot of these Shadowhunter videos in my recent Shadowhunter journey video, but I absolutely love the unofficial City of Bones tour, where one of my Booktube friends, Red, had come to visit me for a week, and I somehow conned her into going all around New York City and Brooklyn and Queens, and we went to like where all of the actual locations in City of Bones would have taken place. I forgot about this one too. So I did a video a couple of years ago where I read my first ever book review that I wrote, and this was before I started Booktube. We had to write a book review as an assignment in like my high school English class, and I absolutely despised the book that I read. So it was really funny to go back to that a couple of years later and read that for you guys. Oh, Google Translate reads book quotes. Okay, this is a video that I feel is very underrated on my channel. So essentially, I took popular book quotes and I ran them through Google Translate like multiple times and then translated them back to English so they would be reading back gibberish, and it was funny and I really loved it, and it did not get the hype I was expecting, but it was super fun to make. Awkward author experiences was another fun like little story time video where within the mass of amazing experiences I've had with authors, I've had a couple of awkward ones as well. Buying books while blindfolded. How did I forget about that one when talking about collabs with Michael? Again, we went into a bookstore and blindfolded ourselves, and whatever books we touched and decided like we wanted this one, that's the book that we bought. Recommending books based on my childhood photos was a cool one. I like went through my old photo albums and I would choose a photo, and then I somehow had to find a book to recommend based on that photo. I loved the book recommendations based on personality types. I love the Myers-Briggs types indicator despite like all of the criticism against it and whatnot. I find it really fascinating, so I gave different book recommendations for each of the 6 personality types, and that's one I would definitely love to remake again in the future. Making bookish TikToks. Oh my gosh. Okay, listen, like I know book talk is a thing now, but I want you all to understand that I invented book talk in 2018. Before TikTok was cool, when everyone thought it was lame, I was very into the app, and so I decided to take current trends at the time and like make them book related. So yeah, like no big deal, but just know that like I was the blueprint. I forgot about this one too. So you guys may have heard of Cameo, which is a website where you can buy videos from different celebrities. So I went on Cameo and tried to find actors who had played different characters in like book to movie adaptations and whatnot, and so I actually bought cameos for them and had them make weird senseless videos just for content. It was great. Recommending books based off of my teenage phases, where I went through many a phase when I was a teenager, so I somehow tried to relate books to them. And also when I challenged myself to read before like 8 a.m. every morning for a week. That was quite the challenge. Of course, my videos talking about bookish tattoos, I think that's actually like the most viewed video on my channel right now. Book covers as outfits was another fun one too. That was a trend that started on Twitter at like the very beginning of quarantine, and so I just like did a little lookbook of these outfits I made inspired by book covers, and that's another one I'd really like to make another version of soon. Reacting to actual research about Booktube is a video that I had started planning in 2017 and I did nothing with for like 3 years until I filmed it in 2020. That was interesting as well because I had completely forgotten that like I was a participant in a couple of those studies where like I was the person they were interviewing to learn more about Booktube, so that one's really fascinating. And I think one of my favorite recent videos I made was my book shopping in New York City vlog, where I went to like 7 different bookstores in Manhattan and Brooklyn and bought a ton of amazing books. So if you like book shopping vlogs, that's definitely one to check out. So yeah, that really concludes my video on my favorite Booktube memories. I feel like this is a long one, so thank you to those of you who have continued watching until the end. Booktube is such an important part of my life, and because it has been such a constant in my life for the last 7 years, it feels like almost everything I've done is connected to Booktube in some way. But I have some absolutely incredible, irreplaceable memories because of this little community that talks about books on the internet, and I'm so incredibly grateful for it. So in the comments below, I would love to hear some of your favorite Booktube memories and experiences you've had, either videos you love that you've made or maybe some events that you've gone to as a result of Booktube. I would just love to hear them all. Thank you again to Cereal Box for sponsoring this video. If you were interested in checking out Memory Lane or some other Cereal Box titles, use the code EmmaCerealBox to get 50% off your first Cereal Box story. But that is it for this video. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you soon for a new one. Bye!